everyone, welcome back to Speculative Dude Presents. I'm your host, Speculative Dude. Wow, it has been a while. In fact, at this point it has been almost 3 years since my last review. Boy, for those of you who don't know, I'm now working over in China. This will be my first review overseas. As I think anyone who knows anything about the China media knows it's a little bit hard to get things up on YouTube, so there we go. A short time ago, I did a poll on my Facebook page and asked people, hey, if I started doing Speculative Dude reviews, would you guys be interested in watching them again? And the answer was an overwhelming yes, so okay, I'm glad you guys enjoy it, and hopefully we can continue to enjoy it, even if it's just listening to one goofy guy's opinion. So, our movie this week is The Mummy, and boy, there's so many things to say about this movie. And I'm a fan of the classic Universal monster movies, and this is supposed to be the launch vehicle, basically, for the dark universe, as they're referring to, as the new monster movies, which I'm guessing means they're trying to bring them back into being scary, because admittedly, you look back at the old movies and they're not scary anymore. That happens over time. I don't know if The Mummy was really the right one to start off with. Maybe they did it because people remember the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s Mummy series. A lot of people really liked at least the first couple movies. Most people didn't really care for the third one, but looking at the first two Mummy movies, they were very different from the original. I'll be perfectly honest, when I saw them, I didn't realize they were actually supposed to be remakes of the original Mummy movie. I thought it was just a whole new idea, at least a whole new take on it. I found out later I was wrong, but this one is definitely supposed to be, and there is a subtle clue during one moment in what appears to be a library. You see a subtle reference to the late 90s, early 2000s Mummy movie in the form of a book that you'll see. But other than that, this movie does try to make it look very different. It's dark. They try to make it grittier. I'll be honest, I probably laughed a lot more than I should have in this movie, just because I came up looking at some of them as, not only was the history, ridiculous, a lot of the things they said don't make a whole lot of sense, a lot of jumping to conclusions. Okay, before I go into that, I'll have to say my opinions on the cast. Annabelle Wallis, Sophia Boutella, and Tom Cruise, the three main characters of the movie. For those of you who don't know, the mummy in this one is a woman, mummified, alive, for murdering her family. Sophia Boutella plays it. Now, I think she does a great job. The only problem is she's not really given a whole lot to work with. I just don't think they gave her enough to show her acting chops. She is a great actress, but she really, in this movie, she has three faces that she shows: angry, in pain and angry, and I'm trying to be seductive, and that's it. She never shows any other emotion other than that. It's kind of ridiculous. She doesn't actually have all that much time on screen. It's decent, but it's, I don't know. I just feel like they could have written it much better for her. Annabelle Wallis, she is a completely useless character. I disliked the writing on this film. If you've noticed, there was like 6 writers on this film. She easily got, as much as I said I didn't thought Sophia Boutella didn't get a whole, written, there wasn't a whole lot written for her. Annabelle Wallis was like nothing more than the stereotype damsel in distress, and really not, it's like, I'm not saying everything has to be politically correct and woman power or whatever, but it's just like, she served no purpose in this movie other than to the fact that she was the way to get the mummy from where it is to London. She was the reason why it got, the way it was. And it was done, just anyone could have done it. It's like, okay, she's supposed to be like a love interest for Tom Cruise. There is no chemistry. No chemistry at all. And Tom Cruise plays the main hero, Nick. He does a good job. I want to say, for people who know, I'm a little bit harsh on Tom Cruise in a lot of movies just because I said I've never found him to be a believable action hero. And when I say that, let me qualify that as, I've never found him to be a believable tough guy. Okay? I do, however, find him to be a very believable everyman who has to raise himself up, to elevate himself in a desperate situation. He did it very well in Edge of Tomorrow. He played an abject coward who ended up having, with a unique ability and had to learn how to use it to save the day. Here, again, he plays a guy who, he's not really a coward, but he is a major jackass in most ways. And, he has to kind of rise to the occasion. And he does it, and I find that very believable. Do I find Tom Cruise believable as a tough guy? No. Do I find him believable as a everyman who elevates himself to a situation? Yes. And I thought he did that here very well. He's probably the only character that was well written. Then again, it's Tom Cruise, so I'm pretty sure they, worked very hard on that. Russell Crowe also has a small part in this as Dr. Jekyll, and you do get to see Dr. Jekyll's alter, Edward Hyde. That's an interesting dynamic. I won't go into too many spoilers, but yes, you do get to see the difference between the two, and it's interesting. I thought, despite some of the things that I read, I actually thought Russell Crowe actually looked like he was having fun, a little bit of fun with that. The character's duality, and I thought that was decent. A lot of people said they thought he was kind of phoning it in. It's I don't think it was quite phoned in, but it was all right. I thought it was pretty good. Whether that character will get its own movie, who knows? But we'll see. Let's see. Basically, the story goes that Tom Cruise plays an American soldier. But okay, the bad part of this movie is the writing. From beginning to end, it's not written well. Tom Cruise plays an American soldier who is supposed to be doing one thing on reconnaissance and is apparently more than 100 miles someplace else without anyone's notice. The only person who knows this is his companion. They're thieves. They steal antiquities and then blame it on for those who don't know in the history, there are factions of militants who are going around destroying ancient artifacts in history because they believe that it is offensive to their religion. Won't go into the political debates on that or religional debates on that, but basically these guys use what those guys are doing to try and cover up their tracks. They go in, loot a place, and then the people come along and destroy it because of its religious significance, and it's any proof that they stole something from there is gone. So while I'm not saying that's impossible, it's very unlikely that they're doing this that they could get away with doing this without any other members of the military knowing about it. And apparently their commanding officer knows about it, or at least has very good suspicions about it, and nothing has been done to stop them or even confront them about it until after a certain situation happens. Of course, that situation is they happen to blow open a hole in the ground, and they climb down and Annabelle Wallis kind of pops out of nowhere, literally out of nowhere, to say, "We need to go down here." Mind you, an interesting fact is this is happening in Iraq, not Egypt. So they move, from having the mummy in Egypt over to Iraq, which is not out of the realm of possibility, but very unlikely. However, they did it because they needed an excuse to have an American soldier involved in this. It's like, what better way to move it to somewhere where there's fighting going on? Huh. Yeah, no politics in there at all. Anyway, they get the mummy's sarcophagus out, and they're flying it to London. The plane crashes, and there's of course you get all the backstory of the mummy. The reason she was entombed alive was because let's see, she was a princess, Amet, I believe is how it's pronounced, and she was next in line to the throne of Egypt, and then her father had a son. At which point she made a pact with Set, the Egyptian god Set, this is one of the problems that I have a real issue with, is somebody obviously did not do any research on their deities here, because they keep referring to Set as the god of death, which Set is not the Egyptian god of death. That's Anubis. Set was the god of chaos, violence, and even storms, and at one point apparently the god of foreigners. Interestingly enough, I'd never heard of the god of foreigners before, but okay. But not the god of death. But they keep referring to him constantly as the god of death in this movie. He governs life and death. It's like, yeah, that instantly raised a red flag. It's like, okay, you guys did no research for this. It's like, no, you watched Gods of Egypt and just went with it. It's like, boy. Okay, so she makes a deal with Set that for power. And Set says, kill your family, kill your newborn brother, your father, your mother-in-law, and also take the man you love and drive this special mystical dagger with the gem on top into the chest of your lover, and I will inhabit his body. So of course, as you know, this in modern day, of course, we know that's going to be Tom Cruise. Is going to be they don't say whether he's supposed to be like a reincarnation of her lover or whatever, but she picks him. He has been cursed to be the sacrifice. His body will become the vessel of Set. However, the fact that they keep having to ram this in, you have been cursed. You've been cursed, is ridiculous. They say it so many times, it's almost embarrassing to watch. It's like, okay, we get it. He's cursed. She's chosen him. He has been cursed to be this, the vessel of Set. And actually the first person to say that, interestingly enough, is his dead army buddy. Again, won't go into details of how it happened, but basically, his buddy gets possessed by her, and in an attempt to free her from the sarcophagus, he kills some people on the plane, including their commanding officer, and then he dies, and his ghost keeps popping up periodically to explain plot, get at random times to guide Tom Cruise. It's like, what is this, American Werewolf in London? I mean, that's what happened there. He kills in that movie, the werewolf kills his best friend, and his best friend's ghost keeps popping up to talk to him periodically throughout the movie. It's like, you guys ripped that straight off from there. Hey. Then they have chases throughout. Apparently, this mummy has the power to control zombies. We had to bring the zombies into this too now. I was like, what? Just because the mummy is like, okay, are you saying that the mummy is the same thing as a zombie? Because not really. According to this, she was never actually dead. So, yeah, lots of plot holes. Dr. Henry Jekyll shows up to explain some things, captures the mummy, Amet, and has her confined to this, I don't even know what to call it, laboratory, I suppose, where supposedly they study evil. Now, as anyone knows, evil can be a relative term, so it's kind of like, okay, while yeah, I would consider her character evil for trying to kill people and essentially, claim power by selling your soul to a god, but it comes off as kind of hokey, really. You do get to, like I said, you do get the point of what Dr. Jekyll says he's doing. You get the point, and it's explained well. It's just not necessarily believable. It's like, okay, whatever. But if you look carefully at the jars on the shelves, you'll see little things like you'll see like the hand from the creature from the Black Lagoon. Other things. Some things that's like, okay, some nice throwbacks to creatures that probably aren't going to get their own movies, but are fondly remembered in many ways. So I was like, okay, that was all right. The end of the movie was, in my opinion, the biggest cop-out I have ever seen. Tom Cruise's love interest dies. To bring him back, they've been searching. They found the dagger, but it was missing the jewel. The jewel supposedly was in a sarcophagus of a crusader, knight of supposedly the Second Crusade, I believe they said, First or Second Crusade, who supposedly stole it when they went to Egypt. It feels like kind of a stretch to bring the Crusades into it, but all right, I guess they wanted an excuse for the gem to get to London. And here's one of the biggest plot holes. They said Annabelle Wallis, her character is supposed to be an archaeologist who clearly knows very little about archaeology or history, but they say that, okay, we need to destroy that gem. However, at this point in the movie, they already have the dagger, just not the gem. It's like, you can't destroy the dagger? It's like, okay, he said we need the gem and the dagger are needed to complete, he needs to be stabbed by the gem with the dagger to become, Set's vessel. It's like, you already have the dagger. What's keeping you from trying, at least attempting to destroy it? They make no attempt whatsoever. At one point, it's 15 feet away from him in the room. Why don't you try to destroy that? We need to destroy the stone. Okay. You don't know where the stone is. You know where the dagger is, it's 15 feet away. Okay. Like I said, massive, logic gap there. But, okay, so of course, as you may have guessed, both the dagger and the stone end up coming together at the end. And Tom Cruise, interestingly enough, stabs himself so that he can become Set and have the power to defeat the mummy. He ends up sucking her life essence out of her, returning her to a shriveled state. Again, not necessarily actually dead, but very limited. So, that being said, then he essentially yells at Annabelle Wallis' character to come back to life. Live! It's actually really, really stupid. And she does actually come back to life. And when she kind of, because like she's looking around for him and he's off kind of in the corner, hidden in the shadow. And this is something that I have yet to see anyone talk about in any of the reviews I've seen, is that, for those who don't know, Seth, however you wish to pronounce it, had a distinctly dog-like appearance, or wolfish appearance. Tom Cruise's character, he's possessed by Seth, but then somehow he kind of overpowers Seth. They don't say how. You just see, for some reason, Seth has, each eye kind of has two sets of it, and then somehow they go back into one, and it's Tom Cruise again. So it's like, okay, so he's still cursed with Seth inside his body, but you don't know what's going on. And I'm looking at this scene where they're refusing to show Tom Cruise again. He's hiding in the back, saying, I don't know what I am. I know I'm cursed. And then it's like, he's the Wolfman. It's like, they turned Tom Cruise into the Wolfman. That's what it is. He has Set inside him, who has a distinctly doggish, wolfish appearance. He's the Wolfman. And the Wolfman is supposed to be a curse. It's not a werewolf, where it's bitten and transmuted. It's transferred. The Wolfman is supposed to be a curse. He was cursed. It's like, you friggin' turned Tom Cruise and this into a curse from the Mummy, and he becomes the Wolfman at the end of the film. I laughed so hard because I was so annoyed at how stupid that was. It's like, wow. It's like, that was a jump. I know the other one doesn't, the old Wolfman doesn't get much of an explanation, but holy crap, was that bad, and did it feel forced. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I will say this for the movie, and in all the reviews I've seen, whether they loved it or hated it, no one has yet said that it's boring, and it's not boring. But, is it a good movie? No. I thought it was a lousy movie. I said I laughed many times when I shouldn't have. These are unintentionally hilarious at certain times when they were supposed to be taken too seriously, because it takes itself way too seriously at some points. I know they're trying to be, like I said, make it dark, but it's like, wow, you guys are trying way too hard. I mean, you introduced 3 characters in a movie about the Mummy, that was, in the end, the Mummy was kind of superfluous. Which, again, like I said, it makes me feel sorry for, like I said, Sofia Boutella did a great job in her role, but they gave her nothing to do. She was overshadowed very much in her own movie. And it's just, wow. I was, I didn't go in with the highest expectations, but I was disappointed still. Last week I went to see Wonder Woman, and while I didn't think it was, I thought it fit in with the vein of superhero movies now. I didn't think it was amazing. It didn't blow me away, mostly because the World War I setting kind of reminded me too much of Captain America, which is the World War II setting, which I know there were plenty of differences, but it's just like, It's like, okay. But I still enjoyed Wonder Woman. I didn't laugh at it. I thought it was, while it took itself seriously, there was enough there to be a little flexible. And while there were certain things I didn't think where it's like, okay, you guys could have done that better, like, the special effects, there was a lot of speed up, slow down in the camera work, and it's like, okay, that's the editing department, and I'm not a big fan of that editing thing, but that technique. But overall though, it was a solid movie. This one, The Mummy was not. It just, I'm sorry. It just, I don't know why I'm apologizing. It's just like I feel like I gave it every chance in the world to be a good movie, and it just was not. I was so disappointed. Even going in without particularly high expectations, it was disappointing. So, it did not do well domestically. However, it did do quite well overseas. As I said, I'm in China. It did well here. So, take it for what it's worth. If you want to see it, by all means, I'm not going to stop you from seeing, my opinion is not going to stop you from seeing it. I just don't think it was a very good movie. So, I'll give this one a 5 out of 10 for at least being entertaining and not being boring, but not being good. The writing was poor. The acting was all right, but they didn't have anything to work with. So, the special effects were okay. They weren't amazing, but they were all right. One review that I watched, or read, I should say, did say that, and I agree with this, is if you like watching Tom Cruise get his butt kicked, you'll love this movie, and that's true. In this, his character can't fight for garbage. It's it's quite funny to watch at times. So, there are entertaining things about this movie. If you like it, okay. But like I said, I'm just going to give it a 5 out of 10 because the negatives for me, just really brought it down. If the writing had been better, I probably would have given this a 7. A 7 or an 8. But no, I can't give it higher than a 5. I even consider giving it a 4 because of all the plot holes. But no, I'll give it a 5 for what it did right. Until now, I've been watching a lot of movies and not having a chance to get around to talking about them, recording them. Hopefully I'll be able to do this. I'm going to see at least one movie a week usually, so we've got some big movies coming up. Hopefully they'll be entertaining. So we'll see what happens. Until next time, that's my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Speculative out.